Hey everybody, it's your girl Jazz, and we are back to discuss Sisters on BET Season 7, Episode 10. And let's get into it. So, this episode was actually really good. I think it was amazing, which makes me look forward to the season finale of the first half of Season 7 that comes on next week. But let's get into it. First of all, shout out to Maggie P. She's actually the writer of the episode that came on, and it's ironic because the person who wrote this episode is a woman, and it's March, and it is Women's History Month, so shout out to that. And I will put her handle in my description so you guys can follow her on Twitter. She is an amazing writer. She wrote some other things, and you guys can check her out on YouTube and follow her. So let's support these. Let's please make sure that we are supporting these writers and that we are really supporting this season, because they worked really hard. The new writers in the writers room really worked really hard this season. So let's make sure we are supporting, because the writers are black and they're women. So let's support our people, okay? Anywho, let's get into it. It starts off with Andy and Sabrina having a phone conversation. Sabrina calls Andy to check on her, to see how she's doing, and to, affirm her. And I actually love that part, because it reminded me, it was nostalgic of when the show first came out back in 2019. It gave Waiting to Excel vibes. It gave Count on it. Y'all know the song Count on Me, between CeCe Winans and Whitney Houston. It gave that vibe for me. And I side-eye Sabrina a lot when it comes to how sneaky she is when it comes to dudes and stuff like that. And she does have her messy moments to me. But one thing that I can say about Sabrina is she is always affirming her friends. She's always trying to get the girls together to talk. She's always trying to get her friends and stuff together to celebrate their accolades and stuff like that. So that's one, I do not take that away from Sabrina, and I love that Sabrina is like that. She is always trying to keep their friend group knit tight. So anyway, she called Andy, and she was like, hey, I saw the stuff about Jordan, and I want to check on you. Make sure you are good. Want to make sure you're fine. And so Andy was like, yes, friend, thank you for calling me, thank you for checking on me, and I'm actually fine. The stuff that they were saying about Jordan was not true. And Sabrina goes on to say, okay, cool. It probably, and then she goes on to say it probably was Gary, because he crazy. He crazy anyway, and he gives Dahmer. I think I'm saying it right, but she was like, he gives Dahmer vibes. And Andy goes, yeah, I hope he's not that crazy, child. Anyway, we'll get to that. And so Sabrina goes on to talk about how she starts her IVF treatment. She have to go in for frequent ultrasounds. She has to go in, she starts her injections and stuff like that. She talks about how expensive it is, and she's happy that she's starting it, but it reminds her how alone in this process she is, because Rich is not supportive of that, because he does not want kids. And so she kind of sulked about that, but then was like, but this is the choice that I made, right? And she was like, oh, but then she was like, but wish me luck, because I have my interview. I have my interview. And Andy was like, girl, you got this. You're gonna do good. You're gonna go in there. You're gonna ace the interview. You got this. So Andy was affirming her, and Andy was like, wish me luck too, because I meet with a potential client. And Sabrina was like, look, girl, you got this. You Andy Barnes. You gonna go in there. You gonna slay. You got this, friend. Everything's gonna be good. How about we have a get together at my house tonight? And I'll call everybody and get everybody together. And so they was like, all right, cool. And so Jordan came in on Andy, and Andy got off the phone because they did what they did. And so they ended the conversation. Her and Jordan got to doing what they do, and they got interrupted because the news came on, and come to find out, they say, nothing happened with the girl. And so they was like, oh, thank you. They had a whole, hallelujah, thank you, Jesus moment, right? Because because nothing happened with the girl. And the news let it be known that the allegations with Jordan were not true. And I was like, oh, thank you, thank you. And Andy was supporting Jordan and was like, look, black men have stuff like this going on all the time. Black men are not supported in stuff in America, but black men are strong. Black men are the most strongest men in America, but they're also the ones who are always getting accused of stuff, and people are always quick to believe stuff about black men. But you got this, it's not true, and you bounce back from this, and you gonna bounce back. I'm like, okay, Andy, look at you being supportive. You better affirm your black man, honey. Listen, the first few minutes of this episode was given. I loved it. I loved everything about it. So that happened, and it cut to the Taylor's household. Let me just say that I loved it. Okay, I love the conversation that Sabrina and Andy had. I loved Andy affirming her man Jordan. I even loved how domesticated it was at the Taylor house, and we about to get there. Okay, so we get to the Taylor house, and Fatima was downstairs with Michael. She was looking for her phone. But she was also helping Michael out. And Zach was at the table. Zach was at the table, and he was going over the budget. He was going over the bills and stuff. I'm sorry, y'all. I don't mean to laugh, but it's hilarious. Oh my God, y'all. It is funny that Zach is going over this budget, and he's so stressed out over this budget because less than 24 hours ago, he was talking about how he put 2 of them things up in there, talking about Karen and these kids, right? He's talking about Karen and the kids that he allegedly have, that he don't know that he have. Talking about how he gonna buy 2 Corvettes. He gonna buy double strollers. He gonna buy double pools, double everything. And now he looking at this budget like he just want to shrink himself down, like he want to say F the kids, F everything, and he just want to go back to that blue light special with just him and Fatima, where wasn't nobody there, where he just want to shrink himself into a bubble where it's just him and Fatima, where ain't nobody there but them. I'm sorry, y'all. I don't mean to laugh. Yes, I do. I lied. Okay, I'm sorry. Let me be professional. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. So he looking at that budget, and Fatima trying to find her phone, and Zach stared at that computer. Zach stared at that computer so hard. And she was like, Zach. He was like, huh? I'm sorry, y'all. That was so funny. He was like, man, it's just funny to me because late in the midnight hour before, he was, man, Fatima, you worried about nothing, babe. I got it. We got it. And now he talking about why is therapy higher than my car note? I thought you had it. So that's why I'm laughing. That's why I'm laughing because you really gotta be careful. You really gotta be careful the words you say, because God really will spin that block. That's why I'm laughing. He'll spin that block, like, cause one minute you like, I got it, everything is fine. You ain't got to worry about nothing. You worried about nothing. I told you I got it. I becoming like the man when I walk through, right? And then next thing you know, you about to cry over the budget. Okay. I'm sorry for real. I'm sorry. Okay. So he was like, man, Fatima, why is everything so high? Everything's so high. We got occupational therapy. We got occupational therapy. We got physical therapy. We got all the therapies. And then we got Karen's kid. It went from I'm having a Zach and a Zachisha to Karen's kids in less than 24 hours. Okay, all right. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, y'all. For real, I'm sorry. Okay, so they talked about that, and Fatima was like, okay, look. Fatima was like, look, I forgot to tell you. After work, I'm gonna be late home from work tonight because I have class. And he was like, no, you can't be late. You can't be late tonight because I was gonna hang out. And she was like, yeah, no, you ain't hanging out with nobody. You hanging out with your son. You hanging out with Michael. And he was like, I guess I am. And she also was like, you ain't got to worry. You ain't got, because he was complaining about all of Michael's therapies plus Karen's kids. I'm sorry, that is funny to me, y'all. It's funny because it went from I put two of them things in there. I'm having twins to now they're Karen's kids, right? So he was like, I got all these therapies plus Karen's kids, right? And your tuition, talking about Fatima's tuition, and she was like, babe, you ain't got to worry about that. I can pay for my own school. You know what I'm saying? And another thing that I want to bring up is people forget that Fatima also has a bag of her own. Fatima also has money as well. You know what I'm saying? Zach does not have to carry the weight by himself. He just chooses to. He does not have to. He literally does not care. He does not have to carry the financial load on his own. Now, just because he's a man, and this is just my personal opinion. Just because he's a man, and men are meant to be protectors and are meant to be providers, does not mean he has to carry the financial load on his own. You know what I'm saying? And this is not me also saying that Fatima should help financially. That's not what I'm saying. What I am saying is Fatima has money as well. And I'll leave it at that. But anyway, y'all let me know in the comments what y'all think about that exchange. I think that them being domesticated as actually was. I loved the scene. I think it was cute. I loved how Fatima was with Michael. I think that Zach having a reality check was actually fitting, because I think that he thought that he could just get his son and that be that he can just, my kid's gonna have everything, my son gonna have everything, and that be that. No, hun. No, bro. Life is about the life. So anyway, Fatima was like, well, you gonna stay here with your son, or you can hire a sitter. I don't think he needs to do that, because he went through hell and hot water to get his son. So he needs to stay home with his son and bond with his son. He snot cried all season 6. He couldn't eat, couldn't sleep, couldn't take a poop, couldn't do none of that stuff until he got his son away from Heather. So he need to stay home with his son. If you want to hang out with the fellas come to the house and they can get to know their nephew. Problem solved. You want to hang out with the fellas come to the house. The crew can come to the crib. come to the duplex mansion, meet your son. How about that? Anyway, so Fatima goes get ready for work or whatever, and Zach was like, look, buddy, I need to get my bread up. He talked about that or whatever. And of course, another thing, Zach doesn't want to go. Zach doesn't ever want to be, and I know what this is. Zach does not want to ever be in a situation where he's broke again. And, we've seen Zach like that. We've seen Zach go from couch to couch. We've seen him be on, we saw him be in Karen's place when Karen used to get pissed off at him. She'd throw him out. And when, those times when he didn't have nowhere to go, he worked double and triple shifts. We saw him we saw him, when he was working chain breakers. We saw him literally sleeping in the houses that he was working in. And he'd go shower at Danny's house. We saw him staying with Danny. We even saw him living in a shelter at one point. You know what I'm saying? So we saw him be broke. We saw him be broke for 3 whole years. You know what I'm saying? Didn't have nothing. And this is the first time he's ever This is the first time bro has even had a driver's license. This is the first time he has literally had anything to his name. So to go from broke to now having his own spot, and to throw kids on top of that, and a woman who's now about to be his wife. I get it. He does not want to be in a situation where he can't take care of that. So I understand. I get it, truly. Anyway, so he calls Gary, and he's like, hey, yo, Gary, I need my money. Gary hangs up on him, and we'll get there. So let's see what else happens. I believe Maurice is on the phone with somebody. I think that happens. No, that doesn't happen. I believe it cuts to the shop. And someone calls the shop and Karen answers. And someone calls the shop and Karen answers, and they weren't calling for her. They were actually calling for Pam. And she was like, no, Pam isn't here, and we don't sell roots to riches here. And so Pam is coming in with 2 smoothies, and they're for Karen. And so she was like, 2 smoothies for the 2 babies. And Karen was like, thank you, but you need to, and she was like, you need to stop ear hustling. And Pam was like, I wasn't trying to ear hustle. This is a shop. You know what I'm saying? And so she was like, I wasn't trying to do that. Sure, this is a shop. And she was like, and she was like, and you also need to stop selling your little product in my shop. I want to talk about that because that definitely was shade, and it kind of goes back to the video that I made last week about Karen being jealous about the fact that Pam is making money off the product that she created, right? And now there's also another side to that, because there's jealousy, but there's also anger, because Pam did use funds. You know what I'm saying? She did use the business funds to purchase inventory to make this product. And the money was Karen. So I can see why Karen would be upset about that. But my thing with that is, if you're upset about that, revoke Pam's access, fire Pam, and be done with it. Fire Pam, ask for your money back, and then just be done with it. Don't keep her. You know what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? Let me know what y'all think in the comments. Don't keep her. And don't keep her working in your shop and continue to antagonize her. And don't keep calling her products little. Right? Anyway, so she calls the product little. And Pam was like, as an upcoming businesswoman, I'm highly offended. You know what I'm saying? And which she should be. And Karen was like, well, as a real businesswoman, you need to stop doing that. And let me give you some advice. You need to get your LLC. You need to get your license. Which, to be fair, That is some real advice. If you gonna do this thing for real, you definitely want to be legit. You want to, you want to have your stuff, because I get it. Karen don't want to get shut down. So I understand that. But there's also a tone to use. You know what I'm saying? And you don't have to have an attitude with it. You can say, hey, look, sis, I understand you're trying to get your business off the ground. And if you want to do that, make sure you legit, so that the IRS don't come knocking at your door. Make sure you have this, make sure you have this, and make sure you have this. And if you need some help with that, I got you. That's how you do that. You see what I'm saying? That's how you do that. There's a way to talk to people. And there's a lot of people. I'm not one of these people that dislikes Karen's character, but I want to say this really quickly. There's a lot of people who dislikes Karen's character, and there are people who feel like the reason that people don't like Karen is because Karen is a dark-skinned woman. No. People do not like Karen's character because Karen does not know how to talk to people. And Karen has not known how to talk to people since season 1, episode 1. Period. Moving on. So, Pam said, dang, double the baby, double the attitude. And then Karen says, and I'm going to keep having the attitude, and walk off. And that is why Karen's character is disliked. And again, I'm not one of those people that dislike Karen's character, but I'm just saying that is why, if Karen is disliked by certain people, that is why. Anyway, moving on. So Karen goes to her office and she starts talking to her twins. And I actually like that moment. I like the moment. I'm like, finally we get to see Karen rubbing on her belly, saying something nice to the twins. I'm like, I'd love to see more of that. Truly. I really would love to see more of that, and maybe we didn't see that because she didn't know what she was having, right? Because I was like, well, dang, why? Because I was actually one of those people, like, why are we not seeing Karen have moments where she's talking to her, where she's talking to the babies, So yeah, I like that. I like seeing that. So I'm glad that we saw that moment. I personally would love to see more of the moments where she's. So yes, like I said, I actually like that. I like that she was talking to the babies. And hopefully we get to see more of that. More of her actively talking to her kids, more of her actively being happy about the twins, because in my opinion is, ever since the pregnancy, she has not been happy about it. So I'd like to see more of Karen being happy about herself, happy about her kids, happy about focusing on creating a healthy space for herself, creating a healthy and peaceful environment for her twins, independently of whoever the daddy is. I don't care who the daddy is. I want Karen to get some peace, get some joy, all the fruits of the spirit. I want Karen to have that, right? But anyway, so that happened and she was interrupted by a call. She got a phone call and it just so happened to be the hospital. And that's another thing that I want to talk about. The fact that it looks like she does not have a primary caregiver, another thing, and I hate to go here, but a black woman who does not have a primary caregiver. She has to go, she has to go to the hospital. She has to go, to the local hospital and make an appointment for for whoever's on call. She doesn't have her own personal OBGYN. She once did, but now she doesn't, So yeah, that's another conversation. That's another conversation for a different day. She doesn't have her own primary care physician. She has to go to the hospital. Stuff like that. I like to see her have her own doctor, her own her kids have their own doctor. I like to see stuff like that on screen. But at the same time, I'm glad that the writers are shedding light on the fact that that's how it is. That's how it is in the Black community sometimes. Sometimes women and children have to go to the to the local hospital, the charity hospitals and stuff like that, to get their care. They don't have, unfortunately, some some kids, some moms don't have their own medical care physicians. They have to, they just have to get in where you fit in. They just make it a point, they just go to the hospital and get in where they fit in. But anywho, the hospital calls, lets her know, hey, your amniocentesis came back, but they saw something on it. And she immediately gets frantic and is like, what's wrong? And they reassured her and let her know that the baby is fine. Her babies. I have to get used to saying babies. So forgive me for that, y'all. They let her know your babies are fine. And so she calms down a little bit. But they was like they want her to come in because they want to talk to her about what showed up on the amniocentesis, about the DNA. And so she said, okay. And then she got the phone. But she looked worried. So from the look on her face, she looks like something is about to come up, because the only two people that took the DNA test was Aaron and Zach. And now we know a DNA test was, prior to this one, a DNA test was never done. What Aaron did was he did the timeline testing. He didn't do a DNA test, allegedly. He did a timeline test, not a DNA one. But anywho, that happened. Next thing that happened was Andy was in the office, getting ready to get ready for her day, because she was getting ready to meet with Miss Marie. And of course she was in a good mood because of course the allegations about Jordan was not true. Fatima comes in and she's like, "Oh, you in a good mood?" And she's like, "Yep, I'm in a good mood." She was like, "I'm in a good mood. Everything about Jordan and stuff. I'm glad, that drama and stuff about Jordan came out to not be true." And so I forget who said something about Miss Marie, but Fatima was like, "Speaking of Miss Marie, she's here." And Andy was like, "Oh shoot, she's early." And Miss Marie actually comes in the office, and she was like, "Yeah, I told you I would be early." And so I actually love Miss Marie. Miss Marie got Fatima. Miss Marie be having Fatima shook, and it take a lot to have Fatima shook. So she comes in the office and Fatima asks Miss Marie if she need anything, and she was like, no. So Fatima, left them alone or whatever. They sit down. Andy and Miss Marie sit down and they get to talking. Now, mind y'all, Miss Marie hadn't even made a decision on who she's going to pick to be her counsel for this divorce. So anyway, they sit down, they get to talking. And Miss Marie let Andy know, look, sis, your professionalism has been called into question. It's been brought to my attention that you be getting down in this office. And Andy was like, I'm not sure. She tried to keep it G. I'm not sure what you mean. I'm not sure what you mean. And she was like, look, Miss Marie was like, look, girl, I'm not here to judge you, okay? I done did my share of stuff too. But don't do that where you work at, okay? Miss Marie put Andy on some game and told her, look, do what you do, but don't do it where you work at, okay? And she was like, keep your enemies close, basically. And so she was like, now if I'm gonna hire you as my counsel, I don't want the money I deserve. I want all of it. I want all the money from that bastard. And so that, they get the talking and stuff. And Andy was like, I assure you, you are in the best hands with me. And I'm gonna get you what you deserve, and even what you don't deserve. And I'll be the best counsel that I'll be the best counsel or whatever. And Miss Marie was like, yeah, and co counsel too. It's been brought to my attention that there is a handsome young man here that's that's also a lawyer, talking about Hayden. And so and so the door just so happens to open, and it's Hayden. Hayden was actually eavesdropping on the you could tell Hayden was actually eavesdropping on the conversation. And so Miss Marie looks at Hayden, looks back at Andy. Now something that I want to talk about that I noticed. I noticed that Miss Marie and Andy had on the exact same. They had on the exact same colors, which symbolized to me that Miss Marie is about to put Andy on a whole bunch of game. She about to teach Andy something, to me, because this is the same thing that happened last season in season 6, when that woman came in who was also married, going through a divorce, and sat down in Andy's office and was telling her some stuff. She had on pink. Andy had on pink. Every person that comes in Andy's office that's older than her, that's done been through some stuff, and gives Andy some wisdom, literally has on the exact same color as her. But I think Miss Marie, especially with her knowing Gary, knowing how Gary is, knowing how Gary moves and stuff, she has said, that she's thorough, that she does her homework, that she basically said the same thing that Madam has said, that she don't walk into a room without knowing what and who she's dealing with, that she's thorough, that she does her homework. So she already know who Andy is. She already know how Andy is, because yeah, she already know who Andy is. She already know how Andy is. So if she knows who Gary is, 10 times out of 10, she know who Hayden is. She already know that Hayden, and then this is my opinion. Y'all let me know what y'all think about it in the comments. If she already know who Hayden is, that tells me that she already knows. I'm sorry, if she already know who Gary is, that tells me that she already know who Hayden is. And that tells me that she already know that Gary and Hayden are cool. I think the way she looked, if y'all go back and look at that scene, y'all. The way that she looked at Hayden, first of all, she said, "I hear there's a cute." She kind of made an innuendo. She kind of made a reference to like a cute younger attorney or something like that in the building. And then Hayden walked in the office, right? And then Miss Marie looked at Hayden, and then looked back at Andy and smirked, talking about counsel and co-counsel. She's about to teach Andy how to work. She's about to teach Andy how to work with her enemies. She about to teach Andy how to learn Hayden's tricks, and she about to teach Andy how to use the tricks and keep that intel in her back pocket and use it to her advantage. She is about to teach Andy the game. I'm telling y'all. If I'm wrong, I'll hold my L. But I'm telling y'all, Miss Marie is about to be an asset to Andy. Even if, even if she does end up using Hayden, even if Miss Marie does end up using Hayden as her counsel all the way, Miss Marie is a very good asset for Andy to have, and I really do hope and pray that she does keep Miss Marie in her back pocket. But that was that scene. Miss Marie ends up leaving out the office, and Hayden basically tells Andy, "When I do end up becoming partner, um, hell is gonna seem like a paradise." The banter back and forth that they do about who's gonna become partner next, yada yada yada, all of that happens. But I like Miss Marie. I really do hope to see more of her. I hope if the writers are watching, if the writers are watching my reviews, I really do hope y'all keep her on because I like her. We like her. Y'all put it in the comments if y'all like Miss Maria or not because she is bomb. But anyway, uh, let's see what else happened next. The juice bar. Danny ends up having a conversation. She ends up meeting the kids. They're at Rich's juice bar. And so she's meeting the kids. They're having a conversation. It is a little awkward. As you know, which of course it I don't see how it wouldn't be because the first time the kids saw her, she was in a yellow trench coat and she didn't have nothing on up under it. So of course that definitely would be awkward. So yeah, that happened. But she basically was like, "Look, y'all, I want to do over. I like your father, and of course, the first time you guys saw me, I barely had anything on. So, if nothing else, I want to be friends." If this is not an indication that therapy is working and Danny is doing the best that she can to change and use her words and try to balance out her emotions, I don't know what else to say about it. But I think that was a very pivotal moment for Danny and I actually liked it. So, yes, I actually like that part. And of course, kids gonna be kids, and of course they're like, well, our friends. She was like, look, I very much like to be you guys' friend. So what do you say to that? And they're like, of course, kids gonna be kids, and they're like, well, our friends give us gifts, and so they got some tickets to the next basketball game or something like that, and the daughter, you can tell that the daughter actually likes Danny. At least I could tell that the daughter actually likes Danny. So she was like, I like your necklace, and Danny was like, you ain't getting my necklace. And I also could tell that the kids actually think that Danny is funny, which that's actually something that everybody. One thing about Danny is very witty. Danny is witty, and Danny is very funny. So the fact that people think that Danny is funny does not surprise me. So yeah, that happened. Rich came through and was like, and of course the kids was like, "Hey, Uncle Rich," and Um, Tony came over, sat down or whatever, and Danny gave the necklace and stuff like that. That happened, and the kids left with Uncle Tony. I'm sorry, not Uncle Tony, Uncle Rich. And Tony was like, "Babe, babe, thank you so much. I think that they really do like you," and that happened. Um, let's see what else happened. What else happened? What else happened? Maurice goes on a date with his guy friend, and when they were out, one of Maurice's fans from OnlyFans saw them out. Maurice's date felt very uncomfortable with that, and he left. Um, that was all that happens, which I can definitely understand that because I can tell that Maurice's the guy that Maurice was seeing was taking a huge liking into Maurice. He was very fond of Maurice, so I can see how that made him uncomfortable. Um, let's see what else. The big one big thing that happened. Zach goes to Gary's office. He goes to Gary's office and he's like, "Look, Gary." Gary was on the phone. Gary was on the phone, and while he was on the phone, Zach walked in, and Gary got off the phone. Zach was like, "Oh, so you do know how to work a phone?" He was like, "So you do know how to work a phone?" And he was like, "Look, man, I'm very busy. What is it that you want?" And Zach was like, "Look, I need my money." And Gary was like, "Look, that's not how this works. You are into stocks. I can't just give you your money back." And Zach was like, "Well, you need to find a way to do that." And Gary was like, "You know how this is. You're into stocks. oh wait. And so he goes, oh wait, so this ain't your, he was like, this ain't your first time around the block as a stockbroker. You should know how this works. You should know that I can't just give you your money back unless unless the first time was your first time. Basically, basically calling him out about insider trading. And so Zach was like, look, man, I need you to run me my money. I ain't like everybody else. Unlike everybody else, I will kill you. And so and so they go back and forth or whatever. Gary called him a weak nigga, and Zach slaps him. Zach slapped him, and Gary was like, you just a weak nigga. You ain't gonna do nothing. You ain't gonna do nothing because if you do nothing, if you do something to me, then you gonna go to jail. You gonna go to jail. Your girl ain't gonna have no man, and your kids ain't gonna have no daddy, and stuff like that. And so Zach was like, you keep pushing me, I will kill you. So Gary takes the gun out, put it on the table. Zach dumb butt picks the gun up. I want to stop here and I want to say something about this scene because there was a lot of debates and stuff going about on how did Zach even get caught up with Gary and investing in him in the first place. And I want to say something about that. It's in my opinion, it's really not far-fetched because if you go back to season 4, if you go back to season 4, Zach actually met Gary on the basketball court when they were playing. We know when they were all playing basketball. And in season 4, Zach was in his bag a little bit. Zach was in his bag. Zach was in his bag a little bit. He actually met Gary and Jake. This was back when Jake was on the show. He met them both at the same time on that basketball court, right? And he met them both at the exact same time. They exchanged information, and because Zach actually was intrigued with Gary's car, and he was like, and Gary actually told Zach that he was into stocks, stocks and all of that stuff, and they all exchange numbers and stuff. And I'm thinking that he invested with Gary before he knew how bad Gary was. I don't think he invested a lot, but I think Jake convinced him to invest with them before he knew, because if you remember, Fatima told him that he vetted him, and that if nothing else, Gary may be an ain't-ish dude when it comes to women, and he may be an a-hole and stuff like that, but when it comes to money, Gary is on the up and up. Jake told him the same thing, and Zach and Jake had got real close. Because if you remember, Jake actually is the one who told him, look, let me prep you. Let me help you. Let me prep you with all your stuff, because you done got all this money with you done got all this money with the stock and stuff. And if the SEC come knocking at your door, you need to know what you're talking about, because if not, then it's gonna be bad for you. So I think because Jake helped him out, he, as a favor to Jake, I think Zach probably went on ahead and invested a portion of his money into whatever Gary had going on. I don't think it was a lot though, because later on in the episode, he told Fatima that he did invest a little bit at the beginning, before he knew, and before Fatima told him, don't go giving Gary all your money, because remember in season 4, back in season 4 when he did tell Fatima that he met Gary, she told him, don't go giving Gary all your money. And he was like, I wouldn't do that. I would never give Gary. I ain't stupid. I wouldn't give Gary all my money. He admitted it right then, inadvertently. He said,
I wouldn't give Gary all my money. But he didn't say he didn't give Gary a little bit of his money. He just said I wouldn't give Gary all my money. So anyway, that happened. That exchange happened. Zach put his fingerprints and stuff on the gun and all of that stuff, but then said you're not worth it. But I got your number. You gonna get what's. I got your card, Gary. You gonna get what's coming to you. He took the bullets out the gun and he took the clip and stuff. He was like, I'm keeping one in the chamber though. So, all that happened with them. Melanie, not Melanie, Penelope. Who is Melanie? What am I thinking about? Anyway, Penelope came in the office. Penelope came in and she was like, what's going on? Zach was like, oh, nothing. Oh, nothing, ma'am. I was just leaving. And so he leaves. She was like, you pissed somebody else off today? I said, now, Penelope. And so, come on now, Penel, ain't you supposed to be in Willacoochee, Georgia by now? You supposed to be all the way in Willacoochee. You doing too much. You supposed to be in Willacoochee in a ranch with Andy's friend. You supposed to be off the grid, sis. What you doing in Gary's office, baby? Okay. Anyway, so Gary's like, Penelope, I do not feel like talking. She was like, well, you need to make time. Ooh, child. Penel. Oh, anyway, so she was like, no, I want to talk now. Penelope, you got, Penelope, you got too much dip on your chip, baby. You need to go get in your car and hit this road and get on to Willacoochee. Go on, man. Go on to Willacoochee, Georgia. Go on. You ain't even supposed to be talking to Gary right now. You got told that he was a psychopathic murdering killer less than 24 hours ago. Why are you talking to him? Anyway, so she was sitting down. It cuts to the scene where Danny, Sabrina, and Andy are at Sabrina's house. And because they were supposed to meet had a little small gathering or whatever, right? Oh wait, before that happened, did I talk about that already? I think I did. So before I talk about the get together that the girls had, I want to mention Sabrina. Sabrina goes in for her interview, and her boss, says, her boss, she's like, there have been some complaints about you. And Sabrina was like, what kind of complaints? And she was like, I'm not at liberty to say, but there have been some complaints about you, and we have to be sensitive to everybody. Emphasis on everybody. Now I want to say this: everybody who works in corporate jobs, everybody who works, in corporate America knows what the term "we have to be sensitive to everybody" means. And I'm gonna leave it at that. India India was saying that there was a formal complaint that a white person made against Sabrina. That page girl complained about Sabrina. More than likely, that page girl went above India and made some complaints to India's people, to India's bosses, right? And India had no choice but to say something to Sabrina about it. That's what that was. That's what that was. And Sabrina was like, this is this is some BS, because I do my job. I'm always doing my job. I'm doing everybody else's job at that. And even after I was falsely accused, even after I followed protocol when I got robbed and was held at gunpoint, I did my job, and y'all fired me, and I came back here when I could have sued y'all. Y'all know what it made me think about? it made what Sabrina should have did. Sabrina should have did what Frankie did. When Frankie, y'all remember on Set It Off? Y'all remember on Set It Off when Frankie was like, I literally got blown up and you're tired. And you're gonna fire me. Sabrina should have did what Sabrina should have went off like Frankie did. But yeah, that's what it was giving. Sabrina didn't go off well enough for me, but Sabrina stood on business, kind of, sort of, a little bit. Now, I I be side eyeing Sabrina a lot when it comes to how sneaky I be saying Sabrina is when it comes to how she treat guys and how she sometimes is when it comes to her friendships, you know, with with the girls. But when Sabrina be right, Sabrina be right. And in this situation, Sabrina was absolutely right to stand her ground. And I was very much so proud of Sabrina for that. I really was. So good job, Sabrina. Shout out to Novi. And I also want to say that I am loving the fact that they are giving Novi more to do in season 7. I love the fact that Sabrina's character is doing more. So I loved that. I loved seeing that. And Sabrina, and India, so basically Sabrina was like, I deserve this promotion because I've earned it. I've worked hard for it and I've been doing my job. And yeah, but to be honest, if I was Sabrina, I'd sue. I'd sue the bank. And if I'm honest, I wouldn't even want the promotion. Go ahead and give it to Paige. Go ahead and give it to Paige and I can sue this bank. I can sue this bank for pain and suffering. I can sue this bank for racial discrimination. It's a bunch of stuff I can sue y'all for. Don't give me the going, baby. But anyway, that's what happened. And Sabrina walked out, and you can tell that there was a burden lifted from Sabrina. First of all, you could tell that Sabrina does not stand up for herself at all. You can tell she does not stand up for herself, and you can tell that when she did that, there was so much freedom in that, and I loved seeing that. I love that the right. Yeah, Maggie did this on this episode. Maggie, yes, Maggie, you did this, baby, because women, we hold so much on our shoulders and we take in so much and we hold in so much. And when Sabrina released, she released, and you could tell that it felt good to do that. And when the girls did meet at her house and she said that she stood up for herself, her friends gave her accolades for that, because and like I said, you could tell with the body language and stuff like that and how she reacted after she did that. You could tell she does not do that. So I really do hope that Sabrina does that more often. And I hope that Sabrina does begin to put herself first more, and I hope that she stands up for herself more. I really do hope to see more of that. Like I said, I be on Sabrina's neck a whole lot, but when Sabrina right, she be right. So shout out to her for this moment. Seriously. So anyway, fast forward, they're at Sabrina's house. Sabrina had the little I'm not gonna even try to mess that little I'm not gonna even try to mess this word up. You know the board, the board that you have with the different cheeses and the different little meats and stuff on it. I'm not gonna even try to say that word up because I know I'm gonna jack it up. But that board, Sabrina prepared one of them little boards. And Andy, Sabrina, and Danny was there. They had wine and they was chilling, they was talking and stuff, and I loved it. I also want to say this, and y'all put this in the comments for me, okay? Am I the only one that can tell a difference in the friendship dynamic when it's just them three versus when all four of the girls get together? And y'all let me know if I'm the only one, because I literally can tell a difference in how free the girls are with one another, even with how Danny and Andy
are with each other, how Danny and Andy are with each other, how Sabrina and how just how they talk to each other, how they laugh with each other, how they are with each other. I can tell. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I don't know. Y'all let me know what y'all think about it. There's a difference in the friendship dynamic when it's just the three of the girls versus when Karen is there too. When it's the four of them. And again, y'all let me know. Let me know what y'all think about that too. So anyway, Andy lets the girls know that Jordan told her that he loves her. And then it was like, oh, okay, you still doing that you still doing that gawk Andy 2024. And Andy was like, yup, is. and and so they laugh they laugh about that, they slap hands about that. And it switches and then it goes to Jordan, Rich, and Tony, and they're talking. Okay, they're talking and they're doing a card game. And y'all, when I tell y'all, I love that scene. I loved it because you could see the perspective from the guys versus the women. So Andy says that, and Jordan is like, y'all, I told Andy I love her, and so they was like, yeah, man, congratulations. And I love seeing that. And then Danny was like, I met the kids today. And Tony is like, Danny met the kids today. And Andy was like, and Danny was like, it was epic fail. And Tony was like, it was great. So I loved it, y'all. I loved it, and I really do want the writers to show more of that because you can see women's perspective versus men perspective, how women think versus, because a lot of times men be thinking everything good and it's really not that. Whereas on the other side of it, on the other side of that coin, women, we be thinking everything good. Whereas the men be like, yeah, nah, everything ain't really good. So we really got a chance to see a perfect visual, in my opinion, of gender dynamics, and I loved it. So I really do hope that they actually show more scenes like that throughout the season. I loved that. I truly loved it. So yeah, that happened, and I loved it. Um, Karen came. She came, and she was like, "This all y'all. This." She was like, "This all y'all got to eat. What y'all want?" So she grabs Sabrina's phone, and she starts ordering wings, and you can tell that Sabrina felt the way about Karen doing that. You can tell that Karen felt the way about that. You can tell I'm not Karen. You can tell that Sabrina felt the way about Karen doing that, but she didn't say nothing. She's like, she's like, hold on, how much is all these wings and stuff gonna cost? And Karen is like, girl, you got it. You work at the bank. What y'all want? What kind of wings y'all want? Lemon pepper? What hot? What? Cause I'm hungry. I want some food. What y'all? So on one side of that, I get that Karen is pregnant and she didn't want just the small stuff that Sabrina had. But my thing is, if you know that, and going backwards a little bit. Okay, going backwards a little bit. Sabrina said that she was calling everybody. She said she was calling everybody, and I'm sure she told everybody what's going to be there. What was going to be there. That it was going to be, cheese. Just small foods like little finger foods like cheese, meat. Little small meats and stuff like that. So my thing is, if Karen knew that, then she could have bought her own food, or she could have said, yeah, I'm not feeling it, or I need something more. Can you bring something else? I mean, can you have something else for me because I'm now eating for three, right? I understand accommodating a pregnant person, but at the same time, if I've already told you if I'm hosting a get together at my house and if I'm hosting a get together at my house, I've told you what I have on my menu. And if that doesn't work for you,
You can either bring your own food or you cannot come. But to bombard my party, whether you my friend or not, to bombard my party, take my phone, order food from my phone, then say to me, girl, you got it. You work at the bank, you got it. That's rude. Y'all put in the comments what y'all think about that. So they all affirmed each other. They all affirmed each other, and I really do think that that was a really nice experience. And again, I really do hope that we see more of that. And yeah, that happened, and everybody left. It ended with Penelope being like, she pulled out the picture and of the girl, I forget her name, but she pulled out the picture and asked, who is she? And Gary is like, he literally transformed right before our eyes. Cheeto is playing this part. We need a spinoff. Tyler Perry Studios, new writers of Sisters, Tyler Perry, if y'all are watching this, Surviving Scary Gary, I need y'all to go ahead and put that on y'all books because Cheeto is playing this part, okay? We need a Surviving Scary Gary and we need it now, okay? Because the way Cheeto transformed and the way he transformed, baby, okay? He transformed. He told Penelope, I need you to get out of my office. And who told you to go snooping through my stuff anyway? Don't go find the stuff. Don't go looking for stuff if you don't want to be scared of what you're looking for now. Now, Penelope, whatever nickname you want to be called today, you really took your 45-month pregnant behind into this man's office on a Tuesday, less than 24 hours after Andy showed you a full folder of his work that he's been doing since the 8th grade. His first kill was the girl that told him no at the sock hop, at the 8th grade sock hop. And you think he's going to tell you what happened to her? Sweetheart, why would you do that? And then not only that, you went in there without any weapons. You didn't take a phone. You didn't take a witness. Why, Penelope, Penel, whatever you want to call yourself, why would you do that? Why, honey? Why? So, yes, she did that. Gary tells her to get out. She didn't listen. He throws her on the floor. She is ketchuping all over the floor, and that's how the episode ended. Y'all let me know in the comments what y'all think about it. And I'm going to get out of here. The first half of season 7 ends next week. I think we're going to find out who the baby daddy is once and for all next week. I'm not sure. I will do my trailer breakdowns probably tomorrow. But it has been real. I love y'all in real life. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see y'all later. Have a good one.